Hey everybody, it's the Collecting the King show, and it is episode 11, and I'm your host, Robert Alaniz, and I'm back. It's been a little while since the last show, I know, but things have been kind of busy for me. First of all, I had some health issues I had to take care of, kind of disabled me almost for a bit of time, so I had some difficult times the past few weeks. And also, as you know, I'm a filmmaker and I'm working on my new film, which is called Honest to God. And I'm even going to show you the movie poster right now. Ta-da, there it is. In September, it's being released on Amazon Prime, and then trying to find time in between that and answering all the emails and everything I got from the last show. Because apparently, the last show, which was called Elvis on Tour, got quite a bit of attention. If you look at the views, it's probably the number one most viewed show out of all of them. But I do apologize to those of you who are waiting patiently to get the stuff from me, because I got so many things hit at the same time, and making the film and getting sick. It's just been a bit of a struggle. Wasn't expecting this much reaction to the show and as many people who ordered stuff as they did. So be patient. Everything's coming. It's going to take a little time, and I apologize for the wait. Now, today's show is going to be called Potluck with Elvis. And the reason why is because it's been such a long time, I wanted to do a show with a little bit of everything. Also, I want to mention that coming up in this episode is a segment with my guest, Johnny B., where he and I will be talking about the best and the worst of Elvis. And that'll be the best, in our opinion, of course. That will be the best songs, the best albums, and the best movies. And then we're also going to talk about the worst, too. So that's just a fun little segment that's coming up. You're probably looking at my shirt going, that's a big, giant head on his stomach. And you know what? It is a big head on my stomach. I'm looking over at my monitor here, and oh my, look at this. It's huge. I mean, I had to get this. I was looking online. All of a sudden, Elvis shirts popped up, and usually I ignore them. As soon as I saw this shirt, I said, "That's it. I'm getting it. I don't care what it costs." See, it's kind of a weird shirt because it never sits right, and I don't understand why his head is so big, But it's good. I guess it's a good thing I'm overweight because I fill him in. If I was skinny, he'd be all wrinkled and stuff. Let's start with a couple corrections, okay? On the last show, I had mentioned Elvis's concert that he was supposed to do before he died. I had said that it was in Kentucky, and I was misinformed. I don't know where I got that from. I was probably reading Wikipedia or something. But as it turns out, it was actually at the Portland, Maine, Cumberland County Civic Center. The other correction I had to make was I made a mistake about the New Year's Eve concert. The longest concert that Elvis ever did was on New Year's Eve of 75, not 76. 76 was Pittsburgh, and that's where I got confused. So our corrections are done. I got a couple finds recently that I wanted to show everybody that I really was excited about. And I think in one episode I will do an entire show on imports. Okay, I found two records that I was thrilled to get my hands on, and here's one of them. This looks like your average everyday roustabout album until you open it up and find out it's from Japan, which has got the lyrics and everything on the inside, which is real cool. Okay, and it also is an original. And of course, the only way to do that is to look at the label. And there you go. Oop. Thank God for monitors, huh? And there it is. This is an original Japanese pressing of Roustabout in living stereo, it says on the label. Okay? And it's absolutely mint condition. Now, I collect Roustabout, anything and everything, so I've got about 10 different versions of the Roustabout album, so you can imagine how thrilled I was to find a Japanese Roustabout. Now, the only thing it's missing is it's missing the obi strip, which is usually goes here on this side. But back then in the 60s, the obi strip was huge, and it covered up a lot of the cover. Okay, and the Obi strip was just Japanese writing anyway. Okay, so it actually took away a little bit from the covers, and you don't want that to happen because, or you don't like that to happen when it's an album like this, which is also from Japan, and this is an original Girl Happy. Look at this cover. This is absolutely gorgeous. I'm not saying the U.S. one was a bad cover, but look at this. I mean, it's even got good old Shelley Fabre. It's got the opening credits sequence where with the Girl Happy, multiple images of the Girl Happy logo, and the colors and everything. It's just absolutely gorgeous. This, my friends, is one expensive album if you can find it. Now, again, it's missing the Obi strip, but the Obi strip, like I said, covered Elvis's face. So you know what? Even if I had it, I think I would take the Obi strip off just so that I could keep it looking like this. But there are bootlegs of this that came out, I think, in the 80s, I think. And the bootlegs alone were going for $100 to $150. I know because I had about 3 or 4 of them and sold them, every single one I had. Okay. So you can only imagine what an original Girl Happy from Japan goes for. Hundreds of dollars, I guarantee you that. I was just thrilled to death when I saw this. I picked it up at a record store, and for the price I paid for it, I could tell that the guys who own that record store don't know their Elvis Presley records. They probably think, it's Elvis. Nobody cares about Elvis. I wanted to dispel a myth, okay? A collector's myth or myth in general about an Elvis release. That's right. Let's talk about the blue vinyl Moody Blue. All right. I want to get this thing straightened out once and for all. Okay. All right. Because there's so many versions about how this album came out. Let's start off by doing this. I'm going to read to you Wikipedia. Okay. This is what Wikipedia says about the Moody Blue album. All right. RCA pressed the album on blue vinyl to match the title track. Since colored vinyl pressings were relatively uncommon at the time, and they almost never occurred in a wide release, this has led to collectors mistakenly assuming that the blue vinyl copies of Moody Blue are collector's items, when in fact, the true collectibles are pressings from immediately before Elvis's death on standard black vinyl. Immediately following his death, the production of Moody Blue was shifted back to blue vinyl, and then however, in later years, the album was produced again using standard black vinyl. Okay. Now, when this album first came out, okay, all right, it did not have these 2 stickers. All right? It did not. All right? And what are the stickers? One says the Blue Album, and the other one says Moody Blue and Way Down. Way Down, of course, had just been released sometime after the album was released, and Moody Blue had been released prior to. Now, this is how the album came out. When I bought it, this is how it came out. Now, what's missing? The sticker, right? Yes. The Blue Album sticker is not on the album. All right? All it says is the hits. Okay? That is because this album is black. It's same. It says AFL 1 black vinyl. Okay. Now, the way that they say it happened is this. The very first copies of Moody Blue were blue, right? Okay. If that was true, then it would say the Blue Album on a sticker, right? Use a little logic there, right? Okay. Then they said, just before he died, it went to black. So there's supposed to be this incredibly short run of blue, and then they went to black, okay? Then after that, supposedly, they went back and made it blue, okay? Then, of course, what Wikipedia was talking about is in the 80s, they went back to black, except they changed it from an AFL 1 catalog number to AQL 1, okay? And, of course, that album is not worth as much as the AFL black, but it's still worth more money than the blue. The blue is so common, I mean, it's worth about, I would say this is a sealed copy, okay? With the stickers and everything, I'd say $20, 20, 25 for a sealed copy with this two stickers on it. And I would say for a Moody Blue black vinyl with the one sticker, okay, I would say that this is worth upwards over 100 or more. Now, getting back to the release, my memory serves me this way, folks. It was black. That's exactly how it was. I have yet to see proof or evidence that they actually did print this thing on blue for a short period of time. If they did, how short? If this album came out in July, that short run of blue had to have been incredibly short. And if it was a short run of blue, wouldn't it say the Blue Album? Wouldn't it have that sticker? This is what I remember. I remember going to the store when this album came out, and this is what I saw. Unless somebody can prove that there was a short run of blue, and I mean prove it, my opinion is this. When Moody Blue came out, it came out on black, period. Okay? And then after Elvis died, they decided to go to blue. That's my opinion. The black vinyl was first. The blue vinyl was second. And then it went back to black in the 80s. That's my opinion, folks, and I'm sticking to it. All right? You want to debate me? Debate me below. Wasted all that time on Moody Blue. I just sick and tired of people saying to me, I've got that rare Moody Blue album on blue vinyl. Okay, so much for that. All right, let's talk about factory mistakes. This is something I noticed too, like especially on Facebook. I'm friends with a lot of different people, Elvis collectors and fans. And I always get a big kick out of people that they say, oh, I've got this rare Hound Dog album, or 45, rare Hound Dog 45. Okay, well, what's rare about it? Well, it says Hound Dog on one side, and it says Hound Dog on the other side, but it plays Don't Be Cruel. Okay, well, what you have there is a factory mistake, okay? This is common. I mean, it's not all that, I mean, it's cool, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's cool to have, like if I had Roustabout, and on one side it was, side one was on both sides, I'd think that was pretty cool, okay? But if the recording is actually all the songs from side two, and the pressing is no different, then what you have is a factory mistake. How much is it worth? Well, it's worth a premium. Yeah, it's worth more money, but I would not go, thinking you're going to put your kids through college with it, because it's not going to happen. Because there are a lot of mistakes. I don't live too far from Indianapolis, and there's been many times I've gone to Indianapolis, looking for Elvis stuff because of the plant. And I've found some great stuff down there. But just about every time I've ever gone to Indianapolis, I usually find mistakes. You'll find an album where the cover is not glued on right, or it's upside down, the slick on the back of the cover. And a lot of this stuff happens in factories. The Legendary Performer Volume 3 picture disc. There's a blue one. There's a one with a blue rim, okay? And then there's one with a black rim, okay? And you collectors out there, you know what I'm talking about. The picture disc itself, okay? Legendary Performer Volume 3. I'll post a picture of it, okay? Normally, it has a blue, like, edging around the picture, okay? One side, it has the picture of a young Elvis, and then the other side is from the 68 comeback, okay? Well, there's a black one, and then there's a blue one. And here's the story behind that, okay? The black one, and by the way, I got this information from somebody who worked at the plant, okay? The black one was an experiment, all right? The reason why it has a black rim is because originally when they decided they were going to do the picture discs, okay, they were going to press them on black vinyl, all right, which they tried, but the image came out too dark. Both pictures on both sides were too dark. So those of you who have that record, take a look at it and you'll notice the images are very dark, okay? So right away, after they ran a few of them, they decided not to release it that way and do it on a blue, okay? Because they were already, I think around that time, had done Moody Blue. So they went ahead and did it on blue vinyl, and they noticed that the pictures brightened up. So for those of you wondering why there's a blue rim and a black rim, that's why. Because the black rims were all experimental. Now, I don't know if any of them were actually pressed and then released. Maybe they were. If they were, they were limited, because I know from this guy. He said once they made a mistake, once they had run off a few of them, and they saw how dark the image was, they stopped the run, and then they put it on blue. So either way, if you have the black rim, that's really rare, and I would say that's an experiment, an RCA factory experiment, and that's worth money. Okay, so when getting back to factory mistakes, it's okay to get excited when you find two labels on each side, or you find a mistake, a cover, or something like that. But don't think that this is a big, giant, valuable record or rare thing that you found. It's rare in the context of the fact that that's not the way it was meant to be. But if you find a black rim Legendary Performer Volume 3, was an experiment that RCA tried and didn't work. Just like the colored vinyls, like you find, like there's an Elvis country green vinyl out there somewhere. There's a Moody Blue, or a Aloha from Hawaii blue vinyl out there. Okay, those were factory things too, but they weren't mistakes. These were done by people in factories, who are the workers who just decided to run off a few like this and a few like that. Those are worth thousands. And trust me, I know, I've sold a few. Some collectors could care less. If it's a mistake, it's a mistake. But if it's a big mistake, like the picture disc, different story. On a lot of YouTube channels, other YouTubers do something called seal to reveal. And that's where they will get the new Elvis box set or the new Beatles box set or whatever it is. I mean, I've seen so many different people do different things where they just open it up and they show it to the camera and you get to see what it looks like and all that kind of stuff. Well, I had this idea where I'm going to do a sealed to reveal right now, except mine might be a little more interesting. There's a collector I know who is obsessed, and I mean obsessed, with sealed records. Okay? Now, do sealed records, are they worth something more that when they're not sealed? Yes, they are. Sealed copies can go for hundreds of dollars over what their original price in the book is, you know. As a matter of fact, you could pretty much take the prices in Presleyanna or any price guide and throw it away when it comes to a sealed album from the 50s, 60s, or 50s or 60s in particular, maybe 70s. But there's an exception to that rule, and let me explain. Like I said, I have this friend who just picked up a copy of From Memphis to Vegas, Vegas to Memphis. And this friend of mine, if he's watching this right now, he'll know I'm talking about him. The copy he picked up, okay, based on what me and Johnny B looked at, in our opinion, okay, what he has is the second pressing of that album. Now, you might think, well, what's the big deal, right? It's sealed, so you probably want to leave it sealed, right? Wrong. Because if he has the second pressing of that album, then he has the correct song titles for the song Words, which is by the Bee Gees, by the Gibb Brothers, although it says Tommy Boyce and Bobby Hart in the first pressing by mistake, and more important, Suspicious Minds, which in the first pressing says it's by Francis Zambon, and later in the next pressing it says Mark James. Now, originally everybody thought that the mistake label, the mistake song credits, were the more valuable of the two. The corrected one was less valuable. But, truth be known, the other second pressing is much more valuable. So this was obviously a sealed copy. It was not the first pressing because there was no sticker on the back that says the bonus photos are inside. You know, I told this guy, I said, look, what you need to do is open the record up and take a look and see what label you have. It's sealed. I'm leaving it sealed. Okay, well, if you leave it sealed, you got a $150 album no matter what. But if you open it up and you're right and it has all the correct songwriting credits, you have a $500 to $600 album. Now, I ask you, collectors, viewers out there, would you open that album? I don't know about you, but I'd open it up And I've done it many, many times. So, case in point, our Sealed to Reveal. I had this record on about, I think it was the first or second show. And it's rare for a few reasons, okay? Inside this record, there should be a tan label AFL1. And if you remember when we talked about that before, if it's a tan label AFL1, it's probably worth about $200 or maybe a little more. The tan AFL1s are incredibly rare, and there's only like 2 albums that we know that were tan AFL1s, okay? It's the same exact cover as the tan AFL1 that I showed on a previous show. So we are now going to open this puppy up and see if I'm correct, whether this is a tan AFL1 or if this is a black AFL1, okay? All right. So let's open this puppy up. Oh, and by the way, it does say AFL1 up here. And I think the giveaway is up here, it has AFL1 again in real tiny AFL1 there. And then an RE2 down here in the corner. Okay. So let's open this thing up and let's see. Did I get a black or did I get a tan? Ooh, this is... I don't know about you, Carol, but I'm pretty excited. Drum roll, please. Drum roll. Yeah, and that guy I know that I'm telling you about, the collector won't open it. Right now, he's having a conniption fit. No, don't open it. Whatever you do. No. All right, folks. There it is. All right. Here we go. Is it a tan or is it a black AFL1? It is a... Oop. It is... Oh, no. It's a black. Oh, boy. Okay, but that's all right, you know. It's still an AFL1. AFL1s, like I said, if you know, are still worth money. So I have probably a $50 record here, or $40 to $50 record here. I was hoping so much it was going to be another tan. But it just goes to show you now that the tan label came in this cover. So you never know. Even if you get this cover like this, you know, then you could get a tan or a black. But anyway, it is an AFL1. So there you go. There's my Sealed to Reveal. Ta-da! I hope you're ready, because now we're going to shift gears and we're going to head and have some fun with Johnny B as he and I talk about the best and the worst of Elvis's songs, albums, movies, and maybe concerts. I can't remember, but we'll find out. Here it is. This is our third interview with Johnny B, Elvis superfan extraordinaire, right?
That's right.
Okay.
The fan in the world. Greatest fan in the world.
Right. And you were born, what was it last time you said you were born into this world?
That's right. Well, no, I'm not a fan. I'm a disciple.
Okay.
I'm a disciple.
All right. An Elvis disciple. All right. We're glad to have him back. So what we wanted to do today was we wanted to do something a little different. We were going to pick the best or the worst of Elvis albums and 45s and things of that nature, just to give you our personal perspectives. This doesn't mean everybody's going to agree, of course not, but it's in our opinions what these things are. And what's on that list?
Best albums.
Best albums.
Best songs that we like. Best soundtracks.
Mm-hmm.
And I also had some disappointing LPs that came out as far as either the content or the cover.
Okay.
Let's start with soundtracks instead. Our favorite soundtrack. And so these are some of these are not based on the cover. Some of these are also based on the songs.
Okay.
Of the content of it, not necessarily just on the covers. Because some of these covers I never was a big fan of either, but I like the music.
And more from a fan perspective.
From a fan perspective, I like it was, and some of these were more for the music. But my favorite soundtrack was Fun in Acapulco.
Of course.
I love that. I just love.
course.
I love the theme, the whole Mexican theme of it. I just, you know, I thought every song was a winner, and I like it. I even like "There's No Room to Rumba in a Sports Car." I know some fans hate it. I like the song. I'm sorry, but you know, I like that song. But I like Kismet too, so I know you hate Kismet. King Creole is a great, you know, a great album too. I love the soundtrack for King Creole.
Yeah.
I like Blue Hawaii, and I like GI Blues. Girl Happy. Well, Girl Happy was the first thing I ever heard on the album. I love Girl Happy.
Right.
I think it's a great soundtrack of all those kind of, you know, Elvis gets the girl, loses the girl, gets the girl. I like World's Fair. I like World's Fair. Viva Las Vegas. Well, Viva didn't have an album, but I like the EP and I like the songs.
Well, it didn't have an album.
Yeah, it didn't have it. Now
Follow
it has.
That Dream put out an album.
And Roustabouts. And I like the songs from Follow That Dream, the EP also. I love It's a Wonderful Life. And this theme of Follow That Dream. Those are some of my favorites. I like songs from every soundtrack. There's at least, every soundtrack's got at least 2, 3, or 4 songs. You know, some I can listen to the album all the way through. Some I just, you know, when I'm listening to the CD, okay, I'm gonna delete that one. And I go, you know, I mean, I don't need to hear A Dog's Life, Dayton, you know, Queenie Wahine. I'm not a big Queenie Wahine. You know, it's a tough song. I mean, Elvis sings it masterfully. It's a tough song to sing. But I like songs from every soundtrack. I think they're I think sometimes I hear some of these people, they knock Elvis' soundtracks, but there's a lot of great songs.
And you know what? And speaking of Queenie Wahine, you know, I remember whenever we did the shows in Memphis, I remember always going to somebody and saying, "Are you a real Elvis fan?" And they'll say, "Oh yeah, I'm a great Elvis fan." I'll say, "Then give me all the lyrics to Queenie Wahine." Some people could, and some people couldn't. I think I can make it all the way through, but the only reason I couldn't make it through maybe would because how old I am now. But true test of it was Queenie Wahine. If you know all the lyrics. Yeah. So what was it about? What was it about Kismet?
I love Kismet. I love Kismet. It's got a beautiful melody and beautiful lyrics. I don't know why you hate that song so much. I love Kismet. I would make love to Priscilla on the beach with Kismet playing in the background. I love Kismet.
I hope Priscilla's not watching.
My mom liked Kismet. I was playing Kismet. She said, "Oh, that's a beautiful song." I think maybe it's more female. I'll bet the majority of female fans out there will say they love Kismet. Maybe guys don't, but I bet you the majority of women would they love Kismet. I like it. It's one of my favorites on Harem Scarum. But
all right,
I'm just a disciple. All
right, so you're saying that's your is that movie soundtracks?
Yeah, that's movie soundtracks.
Okay, so let me do my 10. Okay, and this will be off the cuff. Maybe I won't have all 10. But you know, obviously, number 1 is Roustabout, of course. Number 1 is Roustabout. Even if there's an album with better songs, because of the fact it was my first album, it will always be my favorite movie soundtrack. I'm going to go along with you on Fun in Acapulco. Yeah. I just love that soundtrack. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of There's No Room to Rumba in a sports car. Yeah. But of course, when I was a kid, I had no idea what he was talking about rumba in a sports car. I'm thinking, why would anybody want to dance in a sports car, you know? Speedway.
Yeah.
Speedway is another one. I just love the songs. Let Yourself Go. Yeah. Some of the songs in there, with the exception of He's Your Uncle, Not Your Dad, you could tell Elvis is his voice is getting better. He's transforming now into the Elvis of the '68 comeback and all that other stuff, and the material is getting better. You know, Let Yourself Go was a great song, and it wasn't it the flip side of Your Time Hasn't Come Yet, Baby? Yeah. Why? I don't know. Who made that decision?
Well,
you know,
RCA did a lot of crazy.
Yeah, I think Let Yourself Go would have been a much bigger hit. I know that some radio stations in the '60s would play both sides. You know, sometimes if they thought the other side was better, they would play it. But Let Yourself Go was such a great song. I have no idea why it didn't have the same impact as, say, Return to Sender. Here's a movie that didn't have a soundtrack, but Change of Habit was great. I mean, I think the only song being Have a Happy but it's cute. It's cute in a way where it's a cute song. You can live with it. I think Change of Habit was a really good soundtrack, even though it had 4 songs, and I think Let's Forget About the Stars was going to be in there too, but RCA decided not to shoot it or put it into the movie. King Creole, of course, is classic.
Yeah.
Jailhouse Rock, you got to give credit to that too.
Well,
I mean, a lot of great songs.
Loving You too, also. I mean, they were again. Those were Loving You. I like Loving You as well. I mean, my only complaint about Elvis is that he didn't do enough of these songs in concert later. I wish he would have done some of these songs in concert. I would have loved to have seen, like, and that's when he did That's the Way It Is to sing Speedway. I love that song. It's a great song. Here's the 2 mistakes, the biggest mistakes though, as far as songs that, well, it was that he didn't do in concert was Viva Las Vegas. Remember we asked John Wilkinson about that. We had dinner with John Wilkinson.
Yes.
Why didn't 1970? Why didn't Elvis sing Viva Las Vegas? How do you play in Vegas and you're filming this special and you don't sing Viva? Biggest mistake Elvis ever made.
What did John say? I can't remember.
I don't know if Elvis was very particular about. Remember, I think he said the one thing you couldn't do with Elvis is go up to him and say, sing this. Remember, he said Elvis hated that.
Yeah.
He did not like people making suggestions about, he said, I'll pick the songs and I know what I want to sing. I think it was something to that he said. But how killer would it have been if in one of the shows, and That's the Way It Is, if the curtain, if he's saying Can't Help Falling in Love and the curtain came down and then they re-raised it and he said, folks, I got one more to sing, and he did Viva. Can you imagine how great that would have been?
Yeah, but you get a little glimpse of that in the movie Viva Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Because when he does it in the movie, a curtain goes up and he's on stage with dancing girls.
Yeah.
So actually you got this little preview of what it would have been like had Elvis sung that.
It would have been killer.
In real life at a concert. So.
It would have been killer. That's the one song I would have loved that I think he made a mistake not singing live on stage.
I got to give a nod to Flaming Star. Yeah. It doesn't have any music in it, really, except for a couple songs. First of all, it was directed by Don Siegel, and a great director. He did several Clint Eastwood movies. He did Dirty Harry, Two Mules for Sister Sarah. Flaming Star was underrated. He had done King Creole. He was like anxious to get back into dramatic stuff because then they did that, GI Blues, which was obvious. They were just trying to cash in on Elvis being in the Army. But then right after GI Blues, they tried to go serious and Wild in the Country, etc. But Flaming Star, I thought, was great. I thought Elvis did a great job, and I still think it was a great movie.
I think his performance in Follow That Dream, his comedic performance in that is brilliant.
Follow That Dream is great. Yeah.
He's brilliant. I mean, you're close. In my opinion, he was close to Academy Award nomination in that movie. He's brilliant. But they just it's Elvis. They dismiss it because it's like
no, he is Elvis. Very good.
He's brilliant in that movie. Yeah. And any actor will tell you. I've seen him on. I mean, the hardest thing to play is comedy.
It is.
To play comedy and subdued comedy the way he did it, it's very difficult.
Well,
and he's brilliant.
The last 3 or 4 movies I've done have been comedies, so I know what it's like to do a comedy. It's not easy to do because if you try too hard to be funny, it's not funny. And Elvis in Follow That Dream is great because he plays this kind of dumb country guy.
Yeah, he's kind of like a simpleton
guy.
Naive more than anything. He's just kind of a naive.
He gets involved with the mafia, and he's just so calm about it. And he plays it so good. He doesn't go over the top. No. And one final word on movies, Girl Happy. Another great comedy.
A great line in Girl Happy when the scientist says the human body's worth $1.50, and Elvis says, "I'll take $50." And the way he says it, it's just perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, Elvis was an underrated actor. Let me tell you something. He was underrated. He was a very, very good actor.
Yep.
Very natural and doesn't get enough, in my opinion, he doesn't get enough credit for.
When he was great, he was great. When he was not so great, he was Stay Away Joe, for example.
Well, that was just the script. Terrible movie.
He just did that movie for fun.
Yeah, probably the worst movie he ever did. That was a horrible. I don't know what they were.
I don't know. Don't get me going on Harem Scarum now.
No, he was Johnny Tyrone. Wasn't he Johnny Tyrone in Harem? Come on.
All right, let's go. What do you got next?
I wrote down some of my favorite albums.
Okay.
As far as the content of the album, That's the Way It Is, obviously. I think maybe the greatest adult contemporary album ever made, personally. But I also wrote Back in Memphis. from Elvis in Memphis, 2 highly underrated albums.
Oh, yeah.
I love Elvis Country.
And that's Elvis in Nashville.
Yeah,
the
and
new one.
Elvis is Back was a great studio album.
I think if you were to say to somebody, if somebody came to you and said, what albums should I get of Elvis that are the best?
Yes.
I think you just named them.
I think these are some of his.
Yeah.
I think these are some of his best studio albums.
From Elvis in Memphis, Back in Memphis, definitely that's the way it is. And then, I guess it depends. There are a few other ones that are not too bad. Even though Love Letters from Elvis, it did not sell that well or did not go over that big. It was still a pretty good album, the content of the album.
I mean, there's other albums that I like, some songs. Promised Land, I love Promise. Promised Land had some good songs. Elvis Today had some good songs. I didn't like I didn't like every song on some of those albums. Some of his later albums I got disappointed because I thought he was too melancholy on so many songs, too down on some of the songs. I think the albums you picked were definitely the milestones in his career. But let's not forget Elvis Presley and of course the classics.
Elvis.
Yeah, of course the classics.
Those two. If it wasn't for those two, there wouldn't be any other Elvis.
And Rolling Stone magazine has Elvis's debut album like 350 on the list. Have you seen that? It's like they rate 350 other albums or 349 are more important than 1254.
Yeah, and I'm sure Lady Gaga is over it too.
And it's like, come on, Elvis. I always say Elvis is the list. So when you start any list, anything has to begin with Elvis.
Elvis has got to be at least in the top 10.
There are no other albums without 1254.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand what he again, so disrespected Elvis. I don't get it. I'm sorry.
But those two you have to put, those two albums would have to be in that list.
But yeah, of course, his first two the debut albums are brilliant, obviously. Like I said, that's the foundation of rock and roll. It's the foundation of music. It's just the beginning of pop culture. I had written down here like my most disappointing at the time was Raised on Rock. I remember when Raised on Rock was advertised in the paper, and I saw the cover with the great shot, and it said Raised on Rock. I thought, oh my God, Elvis has gone back to his roots, and this is going to be an all rock and roll, great kick-ass album.
That's exactly what I thought.
And then I'm listening to Sweet Angeline, and I'm thinking, what is this? Elvis, I mean, come on. I mean, I love Raised on Rock, too. It's an underrated song. I love the lyrics in Raised on Rock, but I just didn't get that. Again, I didn't get the melancholy stuff on it. I didn't. It's like,
that was a little bit of a betrayal, I think, on RCA's part.
Yeah, I didn't.
They made it sound like this is a rock album, Raised on Rock. It's going to be a great album. Elvis is going to sing the rock songs like he used to. And what happens?
And then we got our favorite, Three Corn Patches.
Oh, no.
3 Corn Patches.
That's got to be on your worst list.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a worst list there?
Or like The Last Farewell. What was that? Why are you singing The Last Farewell?
Or It's Impossible.
No, I like his tenderness. I'm sorry. The ladies will agree with me. I love. Oh, by the way, did you know the man who wrote It's Impossible just died? Did you know he was a Mexican? Did you know that?
I think he's Mexican.
His name was Armando something. I think just announced it. I think on Elvis News. He wrote most of the original, and then it was adapted, I think, by someone else.
You know what?
He just passed away.
Well, wasn't it originally a Spanish song?
I think so. And then it was translated into English by someone else.
On to the next list. Once he gets going, you can't shut him up.
I have to say my favorite song, maybe because I'm Italian, but I love the vote, is It's Now or Never. When I think back of Elvis when he was that raw kid at the very beginning, and then you hear him sing It's Now or Never. Of course, I saw Elvis in concert in '77, so I saw him sing it live. That was, was the tears were coming down my eyes in '77. And I saw my brother said, "What are you crying for?" I said, "It's Elvis singing It's Now or Never, man." Nobody ever, my fans,
nobody understands.
They never understood it. But and of course, and then a close second though, obviously, Suspicious Minds. You can't. I mean, you can't. You know what I love about Suspicious Minds is that here you had the '60s and all the great songs, the beginning of Motown and the Beatles Invasion and all that. And here's Elvis at the end of the '60s comes out with the '68 comeback special, and then he puts out Suspicious Minds and says to the world, I'm still the frickin' king. Can't nobody make a song better than me. Okay, Beatles, you're good, but you ain't Elvis.
Even the Beatles couldn't beat Suspicious Minds.
Suspicious Mind was the song of the decade.
Yeah.
And you said in that movie about the 60s, they didn't put it in.
No, in Quentin Tarantino's new film, which takes place in 1969.
Yep.
But then because they got to pay for the rights to put the song in. What other songs?
Well, I wrote these are not necessarily in order, but I mean, I love "Make the World Go Away." I love his. I love this. That's
Eddie Arnold.
Yeah, I love that. I love the way Elvis. When you folks, when you listen to that song, listen to at the very end when Elvis says the word. They talk about phrasing. When he says the word "things," he holds it for a split second. He said the things. It's just brilliant the way I love that song. I love "Stranger in My Own Hometown."
Oh
Again.
yeah!
Oh, it just kicks.
That's
Every
a great
time
song.
it was Luck. That was just a jam session. I think I don't even know if they really meant to record that because I think there's only one take of that song.
I think they were originally going to do several takes of it,
and
they might have done several takes. But to my knowledge, I think you're right. I think it was like one long jam thing.
That's it. Mesa Blues. I love what a 45.
Mesa
It's
Blues,
Now or
great
Never
song,
and
yeah.
Mesa Blues.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God, I love that. Too Much, kind of underrated. I love Too Much. Mystery. Now, my classic from the 50s is Mystery Train. When I hear that, it's just like, that's Elvis in the 50s. That's my earliest of the Sun stuff. I like Mystery Train. I love it. And of course, I love when he did it live with the medley of Mystery Train and Tiger Man, later in the 70s when he would do that. One-Sided Love Affair.
Oh yeah,
I love one. Yeah,
that's good.
Now, Big Hunk of Love. That's great. Now I like Big Hunk of Love because it's got the greatest couple of lines when he says, "You're just a honeybee, honey to the top, fill to the top. I ain't greedy, baby. All I want is all you got." And I love that. I love those lyrics in that song. It Hurts Me. Okay, my Burning Love.
Okay.
Oh my God, I went nuts in '72
Yes.
when Burning Love came out. I went nuts. I had the 45 all over the wall because I always say that was the last great rock and roll song ever recorded. Was Burning Love.
All right, now I get my turn, don't I?
Okay. The Wonder of You. No, I'm gonna keep going. The Wonder of You.
Wait a
Promised
minute.
Land.
This is my show.
Love in Arms.
Get your own show.
We got all night. It's so hard to pick 10.
Well,
I mean, he recorded.
I think
so many
I
great
think you're on
songs.
20 right now.
Yeah.
Let me throw in some of mine, okay? All right, I'll stick to 10, okay? Mine are pretty simple because I can go almost right to them. All right, number one favorite Elvis song of all time, "Suspicious Minds." There's no other song better, in my opinion, than Elvis's version of "Suspicious Minds." And I say version because Mark James, the guy who wrote it, who we were lucky enough to meet, I even had him sign my 45 of "Suspicious Minds," the picture sleeve. That was such a great song because nobody, like you said, nobody was expecting that from Elvis Presley, and it's so perfectly made. The background vocals are perfect, the instruments are perfect, the fade in and fade out idea was ingenious,
And the girls were absolutely.
And the girls, the
girls,
yeah, the
who
singers,
who we also met,
and of course the band from the American Sound Recording Studio. Marie's the name of his latest fave. That is one of my ultimate favorites. Another one is one we talked about earlier, Judy.
Oh,
I love Judy. It was never a big song for me, but I don't know what it was. I started listening to the Masters, I think, when the 60s Masters came out in the 90s, and all of a sudden I hit Judy, and I kept playing and going, wow, this is a great song. Then I have to say It Hurts Me.
Yeah.
It Hurts Me is one of the most beautiful songs that Elvis ever did. And you know what? He does it better in the '68 comeback than he does in the original recording, but it's broken up. They break it up for a dance routine.
Yeah.
There
is a CD, there is one of the CD where they put it all
They
together.
put it together, right.
Like Let Yourself Go, too. I love Let Yourself Go.
Let Yourself
in the
Go
68
sounds
comeback
great in there,
special,
too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's more
definitely.
power. He sings with such power in the 68 comeback, both of them.
And I could go on and on about all the stuff from the American Sound Studios. I mean, you almost can't go wrong.
Oh, yeah, no,
But
no.
Stranger in My Own Hometown. Long Black Limousine is very beautiful and creepy at the same time because, when Elvis died, I remember they played that on the radio. And, because he says, I'm coming home in
the long black limousine.
In a long black, but he's talking about a funeral.
Oh, yeah, the procession.
Yeah, the procession.
procession.
Yeah. So that's another great song. Burning Love is up there.
Yeah.
Definitely, Burning Love is definitely way up there. I don't know why Elvis didn't like it that much, but
yeah, that's one I never could. He said the fans will like it, but for some reason, he never really sang that song great live. I don't think the studio version is kick-ass. The live, I don't know. I just never really liked many of his. Aloha was okay, but it's nothing compared to the studio version.
Another song that is real high on my list when it comes to Elvis and movies is So Close Yet So Far from Paradise.
You like that, yeah.
And that's Harem Scarum.
Okay.
So see, I do give some credit to that album.
But it's not as good as Kismet.
Well, we'll let you.
I'll
you guys can judge in the comment section below. Kismet or So Far.
Yeah.
No, So Close Yet So Far from Paradise.
I like it, but I think I like Desert Serenade better.
Oh God, no.
Come on, Desert Serenade.
What about Song of the Shrimp? I'm surprised you.
Now, Desert Serenade is also a song he could have sang live in Vegas because it's about a desert. You're in the desert.
Well, I can see him passing on that one.
Okay, the movie song, the best movie song. Here's the best movie song. It's either between Return to Sender or Edge of Reality.
Edge of Reality is great.
Yeah.
And again, that was that time period.
Yep.
That was the end of the 60s when Elvis was changing. His voice was changing. Even though he's dancing around with a guy in a dog suit, the song is killer.
Killer.
And you're just thinking, wow, this is great. And that would be another great
another song he could have sang live, and that's the way it is. If he would have sang Edge of Reality, would have been killer.
Edge of Reality
that was his second
great.
mistake of not singing. He probably didn't. He probably thought, oh God, I sang that with a dog in the movie. who wants to hear me sing Edge of Reality? But I said, Elvis, it's a great song. Forget the scene in the movie. It's a great song.
Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed the Elvis Disciple and myself talking about our best and worst of Elvis, just for fun. Because the last show did so well, and it was called Elvis on Tour, at that time I had promised you that I would do another show with even more memorabilia from Al Dvoran's collection, as well as some other bits and pieces of stuff that other collectors have said they would be glad to give me pictures of to show on the show. So our next show will be Viva Las Vegas. I wanted to also mention that I talked to my good friend Jerry Osborne, and he has agreed to be on the show. We are going to do a kind of like a radio interview type thing where you'll hear an audio interview between him and I, and that's coming up soon in a future show, maybe in a couple shows, we'll see. But Jerry Osborne, my buddy and co-editor, author of Presleyanna, is coming soon. Sounds Good Records, my business, is still in business, and we do a lot of stuff through the mail. But I need to explain, because some people have sent stuff to me asking me for a catalog or a list. And folks, I just don't have a catalog or list. I had one a long time ago, but it's far too difficult to do. It's hard to produce, and it's hard to put together, and it's very time consuming. And with all the projects I got, there's just no way in the world I could write down all the stuff I have. If you have a want list, get me your want list, and if I have something in that want list, I will contact you, tell you what it is, what the condition is, and what the price is, and how I can get it to you, how much it'll cost to ship, okay? So if you're interested, just email me at collectingtheking@gmail.com. I think it's right below me, right? Is it on Elvis's face? Or his big head? Probably, right? Okay. Please do that. Let us know you're out there and that you really appreciate what we're doing, and we'll just keep doing them. All right? But you got to subscribe. Make sure you punch that subscribe button. And if you have any comments, leave your comments. If you like the show, put down you like the show. If you didn't like the show, don't say a word. I want you to know I'm having a great time doing the show, folks, and I'm going to keep doing it as long as I can and as long as I know you want me to do it. So I am Robert Alaniz. This is the Collecting the King Show, and I am out of here.